This is episode 254 of Jumblethink.
T minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome to Jumblethink, where we interview amazing entrepreneurs about their journey of turning dreams and ideas into reality. Along the way, we're going to share some tips on how you can turn your own dreams and ideas into reality too. On today's show, our guest is Derek Waleko. He is the co-founder and CEO of Up Sonder. Whether you're a new listener or a longtime fan, you can catch every episode of Jumblethink in podcast form on your favorite places to listen to podcasts. If you're a fan of Apple Podcasts, it's even easier. Head on over to jumblethink.com/iTunes. And for Spotify, jumblethink.com/Spotify. Those links will take you right to the app, right to where you can subscribe. While you're there, why don't you leave us a rating and review and let others know what you think about Jumblethink too. Now let's jump into today's show. Hey there, welcome to Jumblethink. My name is Michael Woodward. I am your host. We have a really fun show lined up for you today with Derek Waleko. We're going to get into that in a moment. Before we do, we want to thank the people who make this show possible, our sponsors. Today's show is being sponsored by our friends over at Penji, your source for unlimited graphic design at a low monthly rate. Head on over to penji.com, penji.com. Use the code JUMBLE to get 15% off your first month. We also want to thank our friends over at opportunityinchina.com. They connect you with great learning and teaching experiences abroad. Check them out, opporunityinchina.com. All right, so today we have a killer show lined up for you. It is with Derek Waleko from Up Sonder. We are partnering with our friends over at Republic, and this is one of the campaigns on their platform right now. Super excited about this one because it's all about drones and technology and innovation. So what is Up Sonder and who is Derek Waleko? Well, Derek is the co-founder and CEO of Up Sonder. He has previously worked as a senior government advisor that was in charge of mergers and acquisition for South Korea's KOTRA agency, which led him to working with many technology companies that were heavily involved in the aerospace industry. Now, Up Sonder is an on-demand, peer-to-peer drone booking marketplace made up of trusted drone owners and operators that use Uber technology, Uber Rush, to deliver drones directly to renters where they want it, when they want it, and so much more. Up Sonder is the best way to rent drones or hire an operator for any project and was built for everyone to enjoy the sky, to feel good about getting up. Super cool product. They are in the process of launching version 2. We're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about the Republic campaign. We're going to be talking about drones and the sky and so much more. Why don't we go ahead and jump into our conversation? Our guest today is Derek Waleko. Derek, thanks so much for being on with us here at Jumblethink.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. I'm honored to be on the show. Now,
Derek is one of the founders. He founded a company called Up Sonder. They are doing a campaign at Republic, which are our good friends. First off, before we get going, how can people find and connect with you?
They can directly with me. I don't do social media.
Okay.
But they can contact me directly through Up Sonder. I'm very active on through the company. We have Facebook at Up Sonder, Twitter at Up Sonder. They can contact me directly at my Up Sonder email, which is first.lastname at upsonder.com, derek.waleko. I'm very open to communications. I never got into the social media spin of things, and so I just am not active in that world. But I'm very active with Up Sonder, and anyone that contacts me through the website upsonder.com, I will reach out to directly.
Super cool. We'll have those links in the episode notes. Head on over to jumblethink.com. You can check all of that out. All right, Derek, you got to tell us, what is Up Sonder?
Up Sonder is connecting the world's drone services. So essentially, we are doing that in two ways. It is a way for businesses in the United States. We're only active in the United States. We do have ambitions to go past the U.S. borders, but right now we're only servicing the United States. But it is for aerial data. It is to get a drone pilot to a location that is needed for aerial data. That can be someone in the oil and gas industry. That could be a company in the architecture, engineering, and construction industry. That could be a real estate agent that needs marketing material for a home. It could be for commercial real estate. But essentially, Up Sonder is making it very simple for businesses and even individuals, but we mostly service businesses right now. Access to qualified, registered drone pilots throughout the United States. So, and that's kind of the first way that we do connecting the world to drones services. And the second way is what we're developing, and we'll probably go more into that in detail, but that's Marketplace 2.0. And we are a marketplace. So the same way that AirBNB is a marketplace where you can search and book a home. You can search our website by location, and you can book a drone pilot. So that's our marketplace that exists today. It's Marketplace 1.0, and we're developing Marketplace 2.0, and that's bringing in autonomous drones, and that's to be able to have autonomous drones service the industry as well. And that's kind of the next phase of Up Sonder. But today we have human drone pilots going out to location and flying drones to be able to deliver this data to the people that need them.
Well, that's really cool. I love that Up Sonder's doing something that is innovating in a space. You talked about how you're serving different business types, oil, you're talking construction, you're talking all these different spaces. But how did the idea start? Because it seems like a really unique and new space to be in. So how did you even come up with this?
It was it was my mother lives in a very remote part of Texas, and it's our family ranch. We raise cattle.
Okay.
And she, and to your audience, my apologies, I'm battling a cold. She also has a debilitating disease. She has really bad osteoarthritis, and it's something that's plagued her for I can remember back when I was in elementary school having to stay home to take care of her. But it's progressed and it's gotten much worse, and it's pretty much where she's just homebound right now.
Wow.
And so when I had gone home to visit, there was my mother could not get to, due to where she lived and where the pharmacy was and the time that it closed, she just wasn't able to get access to her medication. And I basically watched her suffer all night. And it made like a very big impact on me. And it was one of those things. It wasn't like that was the straw that broke the camel's back, or it wasn't it just caused me to like sit and think. And I did. That night I just sat and thought, and a lot of different thoughts came to my mind. Like, can I break into the pharmacy? How can I get her this? My mind just went everywhere. But yeah. It also came to the point to where, like, I knew a drone. I'm a drone hobbyist and a commercial drone pilot myself, and so I already had a love for drones and and for the sky. And one of the ideas that came to me was that a drone could have easily solved this situation. Where her truck and her being able to get in and out and the slow as she moves was not. It prevented her from getting her medication. A drone could have easily made that delivery. And I knew the regulations weren't there, and I knew the technology and everything. There's whole things that just weren't there. But I knew regardless that the drone technology could have solved that situation if enough people had put their mind to it. And so it was that thought that kind of started the whole seeding process and really gave me the idea. I was like, well, where could we go with this? And how could you get to a point to where you're having drones serving people like my mother? And so there was just like this stepping stone, these little, well, how do you get to that future? And wow. It basically just kind of started like that. And so I started thinking about this, and I called my good buddy up, Isaac, from college. We were not roommates in the dorm, but we were on the same level dorm floor at Texas Tech. And I said, hey, I'm swimming around this idea. My background is investment banking, and I was just saying, hey, I've got this idea, and what do you think? He loved it.
Wow.
And I was like, and so that was basically where it came from. It was just having a very visceral moment with my mother, and then just really sitting down and thinking about the problem, and then thinking what could be done. It wasn't something. I mean, this is back in 2015. So
wow. Okay.
So I knew there wasn't going to be something that I could put together right there on the spot to service that or solve that problem. But I knew over time there could be a future where this was not going to be an issue for my mother. And that's still what I hold on to today. That one of the first places that when we finally do get Marketplace 2.0 up and running is it's going to be, I'm going to have a drone deliver prescription medication directly to my ranch, to my mother. And that's something that I hold on to and I look forward to. And as well as to, other places as well. But it kind of started, it started there with an experience that I had.
I think that's really fascinating. So many times when I'm talking to people, they're like, I'm not that creative. Or they'll say something like, I just don't have ideas. I know people that do, and I just don't have them. This is a great example where it's not just one of those things that a random thought comes in. It was actively engaging and saying, I have a problem. How could we even solve this? And the technology isn't there yet. The resources aren't quite there yet. But you started the process of saying, well, what are solutions? How can I solve this problem? And an idea was birthed out of that. Many people just gloss over it and say, well, it just is what it is. I guess that mom's going to have to deal with it, instead of saying, how can I solve this? So you take that process of saying, all right, got a cool idea. I talked to my buddy. He thinks it's a cool idea. Now you have to actually make it into a business. What was that process like to go from, it's a cool concept, I think we can do something with drones here, now let's build something. And let's talk a little bit about that process to Marketplace 1.0.
If I could give advice to your listeners or to any entrepreneur out there that's listening to this right now, kind of what you just said really hits it on the head. I think if you can take time to actually sit down and think through the process, there's so many busy things that we do in today's world, and we just don't have the time. Or we don't make the time, I'll put it that way. And to be able to sit down and kind of just think, give yourself time to think. That's one of the first pieces of advice that I can give to your entrepreneurs is like, give yourself time to think. Like literally block out an hour, block out half a day, and like just do that brainstorming.
Well, I want to pause you there for a second. So as you were telling the story, I didn't even think about this. You talked about taking time and being intentional about having those thoughts and really sitting with the problem to come up with a solution. From the time you went, I've got an issue, to the time you said, hey, this is an idea that would work, the whole drones as a solution. How long do you think that was? Was that like you sat down for an hour? Was that like over the course of a couple weeks, you would sit down every once in a while, think about it, and then all of a sudden you're like, here's the solution? How long was that process?
Less than a month. Yeah,
Wow.
It was less than a month. Yeah, less than a month. But by the time that I had, we incorporated in 2015 in October. I think it was October 14th that we did that. But it was basically less than a month to kind of come up with that culmination and to really sit down and think about that this could be a good idea. And the whole, it started with understanding those stepping stones. Okay. Like how do you get to it? It was really just sitting down and giving yourself time to think. And that's what I did. That's what Isaac and I did. We kind of just, we talked it over on the phone, and we just said, well, okay, if you're going to get to this future, what are the steps to get there? And what does that look like? Okay. And so we did that. And we actually started off with, Up Sonder actually started initially with just drone rentals. It was just drone rentals. We said, well, people want this technology. People love drones. They like drones, or even if they don't know they like them, once they have them, they'll understand their worth and their value. And that actually wasn't true. We were not getting bookings on a site through for drone rentals. Actually, what we saw is that people wanted the actual service itself. They said, you know what, I don't care about flying drones. I don't care about using the technology. It actually kind of is intimidating. Can I just hire someone to do it for me? And we kind of kept getting those comments. And so we said, you know what? I mean, today you can go on Up Sonder and rent a drone, but we don't talk about it. We don't market that. We don't even mention it in any of our materials. Everything is just purely drone service oriented, where you just hire a drone pilot. But we had to learn that early on that drone rentals was not a thing that people were interested in. It was actually, they wanted a professional to do the work for them.
Yeah.
And so that's where we went to. But it did start with us saying that, like, what's the bare minimum to get to a world where you have automated drones, autonomous drones flying these missions? And the bare minimum was like, just get the drones in people's hands. And that's where we started. And then it kind of, we iterated from there, and we developed into, the marketplace where we are today. We have drone pilots in over 811 cities throughout the nation. We service all 50 states. We have we're approaching close to 2,200 members now. And it's just been an amazing experience to get drones in people's hands. This is starting to form, and this is like the path that we saw is starting to come to and starting to be developed, and starting to develop on its own too. There's even areas that it's taking us that we didn't originally think of, and so it's been a pretty amazing experience. But to answer your question, like the where it started was to literally be bothered enough to think more than in that particular moment, to keep thinking about the problem, keep thinking about possible solutions, and then from there, like, just take the steps, which was to incorporate and to I ended up self-financing, and my business partner Isaac, he put some money into it as well, and so we just got started, and we started hiring developers and got the website built, and we just kept breaking things and fixing them and breaking things and fixing them. So
yeah, and there's different models about fail fast, or you don't ever want to mess up, but in a space like this, you kind of have to break things before you figure out what those are. You do the rental, and that's not what people want. You realign to what they're offering that they want. You're realigning the services that you offer. You get to Marketplace 1.0, which is, I've heard it said as an AirBNB for drone pilots, where, hey, I've got a drone, I've got a service, and I can come help you, and somebody comes in and says, that's what I want. They hire them on the platform. Now, what are the spaces that you're really seeing people want this service for? What are the kind of needs that you're filling with Up Sonder on the marketplace?
The industries that we serve, and up until like this year, we have been building like because we're a marketplace, so there's and anyone out there that's building a marketplace has that same issue, the supply and the demand side, and we understood very early on that Up Sonder cannot exist without the backbone of our drone pilots. I mean, right. They're the heart and soul of the company. And so we chose to focus purely on the supply side, and any jobs that came to us in the meantime, we'd be grateful for. And that's what we've been doing. And so we really focused on building that pilot network, going into forums and going to trade shows and offering our advice, hearing some of their advice, and really just trying to make a platform that works for them. And so we've been doing that. But some of the places, and it's only this year that we started focusing on the demand side of things. We just hired our first time full-time employee that's running sales and marketing for Up Sonder. That started June 1st. So we're starting to get laser focused now. We feel comfortable that the supply side of Up Sonder is healthy and is able to support drone services in all 50 states. And so we feel very confident that we've done a good job. And now it's time to replicate what we've done on the supply side with the demand side. And some of the areas, and we decided that there are many, 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 many things that drones can do for the world. I mean, you can spin your wheels and really get lost. And it's very much my belief that drones are going to be a very integral part of our society. So integral that it's going to be to a point in the future, within the decade, that we can't do without.
Wow.
The same way we can't do without the internet, the same way we can't do without our mobile phones. Drones are going to be that powerful in servicing everyone around the world for every little thing that we need. And so to that point, we have been seeing companies that come to us because you can go so many directions. We didn't want to get lost, and so we decided, based off of some organic growth on the demand side, to focus on oil and gas, to focus on real estate. And then we're toying with, and we're going to probably be throwing in there architecture, engineering, and construction, which sounds like three things, but it's all one industry.
Yeah.
Kind of, so we're toying with throwing that in there, but mostly we're focusing on the oil and gas and the real estate industry is where we're servicing. And so we have some clients that are oil and gas clients out of Texas that we do pipeline monitoring, that we do recon missions for. We have real estate companies that we do single family housing marketing for. We have clients that we do commercial property marketing for, and essentially it's getting the high definition video and the photos to be able to properly market those properties. So those are the two areas that we're focusing on. Those are the two areas that we're seeing where people are responding and needing this type of service.
As we pivot towards the end of this first segment, we always ask the following three questions. The first one being, how are you finding purpose in what you do?
My mother. I look forward to the day where I can have our Marketplace 2.0 service her needs, and to she, if that experience never to happen again, and so I find purpose in other people like her. There's a lot of great companies out there right now, drone companies that are doing great things with like blood delivery and medication delivery and whatnot. Regulations aren't there. But that's all going to have to be automated at some point in the future. And the way that we see to support those companies is our Marketplace 2.0. And that's the purpose that we find, is that if we can get a drone. See, Marketplace 1.0 is about the pilot experience and about the business experience. Marketplace 2.0 is actually about the drones experience. And that's something that we're very unique on, in that, our interconnecting of rooftops, our idea to put charging stations on top of rooftops, and to be able to extend the flight. We've named our network IF network, IF, for Infinity Flight, the IF network. Yeah. Because a drone is limited by, even Amazon is limited. They can only fly from a distribution point from their warehousing to about 20 miles out. How many of their customers live within a 20-mile radius of the distribution point? Not many. So they have a problem as well, and so do other companies that are using drones. They're constrained by the flight of their drones, and so I find purpose in being able to open up the flight path of those drones to be able to service more customers. And if we can have drones, third-party drones, it's not just going to be our drones. We're working on building a minimal reference drone to be able to show proof of concept and to show our technology, but we're opening it up to other companies out there that have autonomous drones that want to use our network, that see the value in extending the flight range of their drone. And so finding purpose and being able to extend, knowing how powerful and how impactful drones can be for the human race, that drives a lot of purpose within our company, within me, to be able to keep going and pushing the envelope to develop new technologies for exactly that.
What's the big challenge, maybe that thing that keeps you up at night that you're trying to still solve with Up Sonder and what you're creating?
It's education, actually. Right now we're just getting into the thick of the demand side of Marketplace 1.0. What we're very much a startup, and so we're still getting the idea that we are raising money on Republic right now, but the idea is to Marketplace 2.0 is a $15-20 million venture, and so we'll have to go out there and raise venture funds. But the idea is to get Marketplace 1.0 to a profitable state and turn that money directly, funnel it back into Marketplace 2.0. And so that's our goal. Is Marketplace 1.0 is going to directly serve Marketplace 2.0. And so what keeps me up at night is getting the machine of Marketplace 1.0 to the point to where it's generating cash, so that Marketplace 2.0 can come to fruition, and it's developing that out, and then also regulations. I don't have any doubt in my mind that regulations are going to fall in our favor. It's just the speed at which it's going to happen. The FAA has already pointed that they're very pro drone. They're very open to integration into the skies. Industry has already told us that they want this. Amazon's working on some great things. Google's working on some great things. So there's a lot of support from the White House to the FAA to industry. And the only thing that's really holding us back is public sentiment. There's a lot of fear behind drones themselves. There's a lot of privacy issues and things of that nature. So we have to kind of get over that hurdle. And that keeps me up at night as well, is just public sentiment around drones, because, drones initially came into the public mindset through military applications. And so you see,
there's a stigma there with that.
There's a stigma there. Yeah, exactly. There's a stigma there. And there's people who write their congressmen and the people make those phone calls, and it holds our industry back. And I think there's a valid concern, but at the same time, I think I think we as people in the drone industry need to do a better job of educating the general public, because we who are in the industry know that those really aren't concerns that no one is after. No one is thinking about that. No one is trying to go down that road. And the safety and sophistication behind these software and processes are not on the form that they're going to be, a big brother state type of thing. No one is going down that road. And it's just something that we have to do better on educating and really showing the true benefit of how this is going to improve society as a whole. But getting over that public sentiment, that public stigma is something that does keep me up at night.
And finally, as we wrap up this first segment, what's the next big goal you have for Up Sonder?
To do proof of concept for Marketplace 2.0. So one of the first places that we're going to demonstrate Marketplace 2.0 is probably, we're based in Los Angeles, California, and so we'll probably do something here in our own backyard, but is to develop what we want to do for real estate companies, and this is for single-family home real estate companies that are focusing in that market. One thing that we found out right away is that the real estate agents, if commercial real estate is different, they'll pay a higher dollar for that. But we found out that for single-family homes, real estate agents, they pay out of pocket for all their marketing expenses.
Right.
And so there's a very tight budget and they don't get paid back for 6 months to 12 months after they make this expense. And so there's this I have to be thoughtful on my budget. And then there's these pilots that are very qualified, very experienced, that say, shooting a home for $250 or even $500 is just not worth my time.
Right.
And so we can already see a segment within our marketplace that is not needed, not wanted by the drone pilots themselves, and is not, and then the cost is prohibitive from the actual agents themselves. So we see a very good opportunity to demonstrate Marketplace 2.0 with an autonomous drone to be able to automate that process. So the goal is to demonstrate by next year an autonomous drone that we build. We're going to be building a minimal reference drone that will signal to the industry saying that this is all you need to be able to tie into our network. And this is what it can do. And so one thing that we want to be able to do is offer to real estate agents the ability to just type in an address and then within 30 minutes to an hour, get those assets back. Essentially, it's just all automated. Our drone will go out, take pictures, standardized pictures of a property listing, and just send that data, those pictures and videos back to the agents. And we want to make that a very, very, very neat and packaged system. And so that's kind of our next thing is to, if we can demonstrate that, prove that works, and that's a value-added opportunity. We can then extend and start baby stepping Marketplace 2.0 into other areas. Like we can have our autonomous drones start doing roof inspections thereafter, and then after, and keep going and building on top of what we're learning. So, but the first step is to iterate the whole real estate gathering of data process first. So that's our next big thing that we're working on or thinking about right now.
Super cool. We will be back with Derek Waleko, and we're going to talk more about drones and much more. We'll be back. There is a lot going on at JumbleThink, and we want to keep you in the loop. How can you do it? Head on over to jumblethink.com. You can sign up for our newsletter. You'll also find some helpful links to all of our social media channels like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn. So head on over to jumblethink.com, sign up for that newsletter, and let's connect online too. We also want to take a moment and thank our sponsors for today's show, OpportunityInChina.com and Penji. Have you been looking for a way to change your career or social prospects? Do you see the world around you changing and haven't quite figured out what path you should take? You are not alone in seeking opportunity. Visit OpportunityInChina.com for access to scholarships to attend university in China. Or, if you have a bachelor's degree already, OpportunityInChina.com provides access to jobs in the educational sector all across China. Now, working in China is not only often well paid, but it will place you among 1/5 of the world's population, boosting your social network, bringing you more deeply into the story of globalization, and opening up doors you never knew existed. So seize your opportunity now. Visit their website for more information at OpportunityInChina.com. We also want to thank our friends over at Penji. Penji helps startups, agencies, marketing teams, and small businesses achieve more with unlimited graphic design support at one flat monthly rate. Their easy-to-use online platform pairs you with professional designers and lets you create as many design projects as you want. Think of it as your monthly subscription to top-notch design, no contracts, no hourly billing, just fast, simple, and affordable graphic design for all of your needs. How can you connect with them? Head on over to Penji, PENJI.com. Use that code JUMBLE, JUMBLE, and get 15% off your first month of Penji. So head on over right now, Penji.com, and use that code JUMBLE. Now let's jump back into our conversation with Derek Waleko of Up Sonder. We are back with Derek. He is the visionary behind Up Sonder. They're doing really cool stuff. I want to go a little bit deeper. You mentioned this in the first segment. It is a problem. I could, see this personally in my own opinion of drones. How do we navigate the complexities of perception of drones? You talked about how a lot of drones, what we experience now, were birthed out of the military space, and so there's that stigma. There's the stigma of air pollution, of noise pollution, and having things cluttering up what's above us. There's the safety question. There's the privacy issue. Let's talk about this, because I think that those are some of the things that the average American they're just going, I don't know if this is something I even really want involved in my life.
Right. Yeah, it's a very tough, challenging problem. We definitely think about this at Up Sonder, and we actually are looking toward solving things that aren't even a problem yet, because we can see very clearly coming up in the next few years where drone clutter, the amount of drones that are actually in the sky, being an issue. And so, we know without a doubt that our Infinity network will be able to help and reduce drone clutter, the amount of drones that are in the sky, because if you can have one drone do more, then you're having less drones flying to be able to do the same amount of work.
Yeah.
And so we see a pure benefit to the F network that we're building. The other thing is we think about we've been collecting data early on. So one of the things that when you come as a pilot to Up Sonder to create your account, we ask this one question that's a little weird, and it's funny that we don't actually get more. Hey, why are you guys asking this? but it is because it has nothing to do with the entire process, but it's a little off the wall. But it essentially is saying, do you own your home? Do you have access to your rooftop? And would you be willing to install a charging station, a drone charging station on your rooftop? And we've been asking this for a while now. And so we have good data to signal that there is about 20% of our population that says, yes, I do own my home. I do have access to my rooftop, and I would love a drone charging station on my rooftop. I'd be willing to participate in that program. And this is very interesting because these are people who live. When we see this information and we see the data plots on a map overlaid across the U.S., we start seeing that these people live in communities where essentially they're people who understand drones. They get drones. They understand their worth. They're not scared of them. These are ambassadors. essentially is what they are. And so we can start seeing within our network, we can see these ambassadors start showing up to where, and now we haven't invoked or empowered them to be ambassadors, but this is something that we're working on because we see a very good opportunity is that, if you can, the person that maybe, not everyone likes their neighbor, but for those that do, when they have a drone charging station on their rooftop and they have a drone that's flying over and maybe someone in the neighborhoods has a problem with it, you have that person right then and there saying, you know what, I hear your concerns, but this is really amazing and how it's actually going to be helping this neighborhood and this city and whatnot. So you have these people that are out there that can be these really great ambassadors at the local level to be able to talk and go to like city council meetings and to be able to talk to the public about saying, like, this is not a bad thing. This is not something we have to be worried about, and here's why. And so when we start looking at that excites us, and to see that, this is probably one strategy that we as a company can actually invoke privately with our own members to be help with that story, to help with the public sentiment, to get them over that fear or that stigma that they have about drones. So, but yeah, it's something that we definitely do think about, and we have a couple solutions under our belt. And then it also has us being involved at the federal level as well. We as a company sit on the board. We're on the CTA, the Consumer Technology Association. We're part of the Drone Policy Working Group, and so we work at the federal level to be able to address issues of drone laws and across the nation. And Up Sonder has a voice in that committee, and so we also work from that level to be able to help and shape laws around the U.S. that are favorable for U.S. Drone activity. And so we're tackling it from both ends, from a high federal level, from our involvement with policy groups, to a very local level with our actual pilots and our member group.
Well, that still doesn't necessarily answer the question about the clutter portion of it, because, sometimes you just want to take a nice picture of the sunset, but if we have hundreds of drones over our head all the time,
Millions.
Okay. How do we navigate that issue? Because it does change quality of life when it comes to that. So how do we solve those kind of things?
Right. It really boils down to our IF network.
Okay.
We are empowering a drone to be able to do more with less. So whereas you have, without the IF network, without our infrastructure, you have distribution points all over with individual drones, being used to be able to service the clients. And so you have, Amazon, you have Pizza Hut, you have, Uber Eats, you have all these different companies doing their own thing with their own drones, flying out there trying to service all these people. And so you have this very inefficient use of drones, and that's where you get the clutter.
Okay.
Now, if you can think of now that, okay, well, I no longer see the way we see the way we see the evolution of the drone today is that over the next couple of years, you're very much going to see companies have their own drones. But past that, and where Up Sonder comes in, is you're going to start seeing them move away from owning their own drones. It's not going to make any sense to have. It's kind of like the rental car. You can have a rental car show up like in different states, and it's just being kind of transported around. Same thing with the drones. Like there's going to be a company out there that provides these drones that will be able to go, and Up Sonder is very much going to be moving into that market, to where we can offer a set amount of drones to be able to service Uber, to be able to service Amazon, to be able to service and be like, they essentially just lease these drones that are these third-party drones, whether it's our drones or another company that's providing these autonomous drones. But essentially, you're now creating an environment that has less drones doing more work, and that's only possible if you're able to tackle the problem at the energy issue. And that's the one thing in our industry that no one likes to talk about. It's our dirty little secret. Drones don't fly long.
Yeah,
they don't. They just don't. They don't fly long. You're talking about like 30 minutes to an hour worth of flight time. And then when you start adding payloads to those drones, you're talking about a 33% reduction in flight time for something as little as 2 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is a real issue. And when you start solving those energy issues, you start reducing the amount of drones that are in our skies. And so this is what we're thinking. This is how we're thinking about tackling the problem that doesn't exist but will exist. And as more if networks come online, because we plan on moving from city to city to be bringing those online until we interconnect the entire United States, and then past that. But as more if network locations come online, you'll start seeing less and less drones in the sky.
I love that you guys are thinking about these problems, because I think sometimes in innovation, we inherently deep down know that there are issues that we're going to have to overcome. But instead of thinking preventively, thinking at the front end, we go, well, we'll solve that when we get there. So I love that you guys are looking at these problems and saying, you know what, this is a great time to solve those questions now.
Yeah. I think that is that's a very true statement. It's when you start. Maybe it's just I tend to think most entrepreneurs think this way, is that we really fast forward 100 years into the future, or 50 years into the future, or 20 years into the future, and say, like, where is this idea actually going? And when you start thinking that way, and you start seeing, like, okay, drones are servicing everything. What does that mean? How many drones is that actually looking? What does that actually look like? And so when you start asking these questions, you start coming up with those problems that don't exist. And so, but it does give you, it's a healthy exercise to come up with, then, well, this is what needs to happen, and this is how we need to start thinking about it.
Yeah, and I think it's really cool. I mean, what was it? The last Winter Olympics, they used drones in some of the art that they did in the opening ceremonies and everything. So there's a lot of uses for drones. You are currently on Republic doing a campaign to raise funds for that. Tell us how you're going to use those funds and what that campaign allows you to do, while giving ownership, giving some people some opportunity to invest and be part of the future.
Yeah, we're super excited about the Republic campaign. We love the people over at Republic. It was really funny, because Republic had contacted us initially, and I was clueless about crowd equity funding. It's something that I think changed in 2016, and really kind of opened the doors for normal individuals to be able to take advantage of early opportunities, which is great, because the system has been rigged for so long, still very much is. But these changes by the SEC are a very good positive step, and I look forward to actually more being done on that level. But I remember when Republic, because this was just a new idea, they originally approached us. I honestly thought they were con artists. Like, I was just like, no, what are you talking about? So we had, actually, there was months that went by that we did not even engage with Republic, and it took just doing a little bit of homework and doing a little bit of educating ourselves to learn very quickly that Republic was the gold standard, and to see what and how innovative actually Republic is. You talk about all these other startups that Republic is hosting and helping out, but it's very easy to get lost and not think of Republic as this very innovative company. They very much are, and I think it's been an amazing experience to work for them. But we're using their platform to help with all the SEC regulations and with the fundraising. And what we're going to be doing with those funds is essentially to support Marketplace 1.0. And so we have been doing great. We have 600 and I think last I remember looking at the stats, 622 investors.
Oh wow!
We're approaching close to $200,000 that we've raised, and about I would say 20% of that money is going to be going toward Marketplace 2.0. That's where we're going to be building our minimal reference drone and trying to bring out that first iteration for the real estate industry, and then the rest of it is going to be going into sales and marketing and really focusing on the demand side of Marketplace 1.0. And really building out that part of Up Sonder. So that's what we have planned to really support Marketplace 1.0, so that we can get it in a healthy state to be able to support Marketplace 2.0.
Yeah, we love Republic too. We think that they're doing great things, and we love that you're on there bringing this opportunity to people to engage and be a part early on in the story of Up Sonder. I think that's really, really fun. I want to remind people how they can find you and find the Republic campaign as we wrap up this segment. So can you let people know where they can connect and find you?
Yeah, I think our campaign is running till the end of July. and that will be the last time that we will be opening an investment into the company, and after that we will be closing it down. You can go to republic.co/Up Sonder. And so that is the best way to you can engage with us on the Republic site directly. You can ask questions. You can look over all our information, and that's probably the best place to reach us. Outside of that, you can always come if you need a drone pilot. You can directly reach us at upsonder.com. That's our main site, but. For investments or for seeing what we're working on and what holds for the future, republic.co/Up Sonder.
Super cool. We will be back with Derek to do rapid fire questions. A few weeks ago in early June, I was able to be a part of the first ever podcast row, and they're doing it again July 29th. I would love to have you join me and tell me and some of my podcast friends your story of entrepreneurship, your story of turning dreams and ideas into reality. How can you join? Head on over to podcast-row.com. That's podcast-row.com, and you can apply. It's a fun-filled day. We interview you. You get to have some food and networking time, watch some stand-up, and learn from the best like James Altucher. It is a super fun event, so head on over to podcast-row.com, podcast-row.com, and check out the event. I would love to see you there. I'd love to hear your story, and I'd love to connect with you. So head on over and apply now. Now let's jump back into our conversation with Derek Waleko. We are back with Derek Waleko, and we're doing rapid fire questions. Are you ready for rapid fire questions, Derek?
I am. Well, actually, I'm not, but I mean, go ahead.
As a child, what did you want to be when you grew up?
Oh, an astronaut. Even to this day, I have a. I was just talking to my daughter last night about this. We were sitting on the balcony, and she noticed the moon, and I said, "Do you want to walk on the moon with Daddy?" I'm there's no joke in my mind, and I'm so grateful and thankful that there's people on this planet like Elon Musk that are going to make that possible in my lifetime, and definitely my daughter's lifetime. But I have this legitimate bucket list. I just want to. I want to visit the moon. I want to walk on the moon. That's just something that I want to do. And I think it would definitely bring out that inner child in me for wanting to be an astronaut. So,
what's one tip you'd give someone with a big idea or dream and they don't know where to start?
To start. That's probably, the biggest thing is like one thing that I had to get over early on, and this is kind of built in my DNA, but I've been working on myself and getting over, two things. One is understand that you're in complete control and that all the failures and all the successes are your doing. Take ownership and understand that that's exactly how it's going to go down. If something's not working, it's because you're not working. So just fix it and figure it out. And the other step is just do it. You'll learn more if you just jump into. I had a really big problem of letting perfection stand in the way of good. And so good is what you're after. Don't worry about perfection. Just go after good and figure out how to make it better.
What's one big lie about entrepreneurship you'd like to break?
Oh, that's a great question. Wow, that is a really good question. I would say that there is just, I don't know if this is a lie.
Well, go with it.
I don't know. Well, I'll just go with it. I don't know if this is a lie, but like the amount of time that you have to spend fundraising and okay. Here's some. I think that this is something that you can't do it alone.
Yeah.
If there's someone out there that anyone that builds a company that thinks that they can do it alone, you're wrong. I think that's the biggest lie. You need a support system. You need people in your life that are there for you, whether it's on the direct team itself or it's within your family or your inner circle, whatever it is. You need people with you. So I think the big lie for entrepreneurship is that you can do it alone. Like Steve Jobs didn't do it alone. Anyone out there that we know and love did not do it alone.
Yeah.
You need a group of people around you to support.
What's one change you'd like to see in the world?
I would love to see drones be a integral part to everyday life. I mean, I'm talking about from coffee delivery while you're through your moonroof in your car while you're driving from point A to point B. I'm talking about just drones walking dogs. I'm talking about I'm talking about really that futuristic amazing future where you see on different movies or whatnot. I would really love to see that future come much sooner.
What do you want your legacy to be?
These are deep questions for rapid fire. Jeez, I haven't even thought about my legacy. I'm a father. I have two kids. They're both young. And when I think about, I guess, legacy or posterity, it just is that I properly educated them to find happiness. And so if I want my legacy to be probably just with my kids or with my family directly, and that they knew that dad was happy and that they can be happy as well.
Where do you find inspiration?
My mother. I find a lot of inspiration from my mother. I find a lot of inspiration from important people in the world. I like when I see people doing good things. I can find inspiration in being being grateful. There's a lot of inspiration in being grateful. I think when you show this level of gratitude for like the smallest thing, this is probably going a little bit too deep for your audience or whatnot, but my wife suffers from postpartum depression. Mm-hmm. And I was just today thinking how amazing, like I just couldn't do what she does in raising our kids. Like I just couldn't. And it's so inspiring to have her in my life and to be able to see if she can be that strong, I need to be even I need to try to be even stronger. So I really find inspiration in being grateful for things like that. But in my wife as well, I find inspiration from my wife.
What is one book you think every dreamer or entrepreneur should read?
Never Split the Difference. I think that's probably the greatest book I've ever read. It's an amazing. It's by Chris Voss. It's a really amazing book on the human psyche and moving through this world and interacting with other people. I think it's a really good book for every entrepreneur to interact with or to be able to read.
How do you define success?
Happiness.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's very simple. I think if you're happy with what you're doing, I think you're successful.
What is one trend you're currently excited about?
The drone industry.
I figured that would be the answer, but I went with it anyway. It's on the list. I have to ask it, right?
Yeah, right.
What is one habit that has been helpful in your life as an entrepreneur?
4 a.m. mornings. Doing the work. Staying really understanding that it's all connected. That my physical fitness, how I think about, things spiritually, how I interact with my relationship with my wife and my kids, how it's all interconnected with my business, knowing and understanding that and keeping all areas of my life healthy, is something that, I practice daily. I wake up at 4 a.m. I work out, I make a green juice, and I journal, I meditate. I do all this stuff, and it's before 6 a.m. or 7 a.m. ever hits. That's just my time. I think having time to yourself and really giving that moment to work on yourself is a healthy and very, very needful thing.
What's one thing you wish you would have known when you first started out?
I wish I would have known how much of it was me. How much of it was me. I wish I would have known that starting out.
If you weren't doing what you're doing today, what do you think you'd be doing?
Probably I would still, I would probably still be doing a lot more with investment banking. Or you know what? I probably would be doing an organic line of products. Anyone that knows me, I talk about this sometimes, but you kind of have to spend some time with me to realize how much of a health nut I am. And but I'm a big believer in organic foods, organic products. And if I wasn't doing drones, I would probably be doing something along very healthy, conscious lifestyle.
What is one dream you're still wanting to fulfill in your own life?
Walking on the moon.
Nice. Well, as we wrap up today's show, we always like to leave our guests have a final thought. What's your final thought for our audience today? What do you want to leave us with?
I want to leave you with, for the entrepreneurs out there, I think this is, there's a lot of entrepreneurs that are listening to the show. And so I don't want to leave you guys out. Do the work. It's as simple as that. And think about your work on a weekly basis and really get down to the nitty gritty. Think about what happened last week and think about what you're going to be doing next week and keep that consistent. I think the number one thing I want to leave all the entrepreneurs out there, consistency is king. Don't ever waver with that. Keep it consistent in all areas of your life, but focus on consistency.
Super, super cool. Derek, thanks so much for taking time out, sharing the story of Up Sonder, sharing some great wisdom with us. And we wish you the best with this campaign, and we're excited to see where you take the company.
Thanks. I appreciate that. It was super exciting to be on Jumble Think, and big honor, really. And thank you for the time.
In a moment, we'll be back for final thoughts and to wrap up today's show.
Ce disque sera pour vous un rempart contre la fatigue, la dépression, l'énervement.
Early in the episode, I mentioned that our friends over at Up Sonder are on the Republic platform so that you can invest in their company. Now, you may be wondering what Republic is, and I want to take a moment to explain what they are. Republic was founded by alum of AngelList, the world's largest investment platform for accredited investors, following the passing of the Jobs Act in May of 2016. With this new legislation, non-accredited investors, just like you, the majority of the U.S. population, could invest in startups for the very first time. But the complicated legal requirements called for a founder and investor-friendly platforms to make startup investing truly accessible. So this is what Republic was built to do. This is their mission. I like to explain it this way. If you've ever seen Kickstarter or Indiegogo, you can go and invest in a company. But typically when you do that, you invest for buying a product or service. So when you join the campaign, you say, hey, I'm going to invest $50, $5, $100, $1,000, whatever it is, and you're not getting true ownership in the company. You are pre-purchasing a product, a service, or something like that, an experience. With Republic, it's a little bit different. You're not investing in buying a pre-sale of the product or the service or whatever it is that they're doing. You're actually investing in the business itself. As a fan of places like Kickstarter, I'm also a big fan of Republic. I love it because there are amazing startups out there, and how better than investing in the dreams and ideas of others to see incredible things come to the market. New startups, new ideas, new dreams. And so our partnership with Republic is just a friendship. We're friends with the guys over at Republic. We love what they're doing. We love what they're creating. We love that they are bringing incredible businesses to the market so that people like you can invest in them. If you want to learn more about Republic, you can check them out at republic.co. Super cool. We love them. Big fans. So check them out. And if you find a business you like, go invest in it. As I look back at this episode, there's a huge takeaway for me. And that's so often we don't know how to come up with amazing dreams and ideas. We think it's some magical formula, some complicated solution. And the reality is that just like Derek, he saw a problem. His mom needed to get medicine to a remote part of where she lived in Texas, and yet it was very complicated and hard to do. He then started brainstorming about solutions to solve this problem. Have they solved it yet? Not yet, but they're on the road to do that. I think many of us see problems around us. We see solutions to those problems, and yet we never take the action to step into creating them. If you can learn anything from today's show, Up Sonder was birthed out of a place of need and coming with a solution to solve it. So today, as you think about the dreams and ideas you have, what problems do you see around you? What problems do you see in this world? And then what solutions do you have to offer the world? The world only changes when people step up to the plate, they swing big, and they take the risks to dream big. So for you, you may see a problem, you may see a need, and when you step up, when you step to the plate and say, I'm going to dream big and see this world changed, the world has changed. So be encouraged by Derek's story, the story of Up Sonder, and go out there, chase those dreams and ideas, and change the world around you. We want to thank Derek for being a part of today's show. Go check them out, upsonder.com. Go support them on Republic. You can find those links in the episode notes. We also want to thank our friends over at Republic for partnering with us to bring you some amazing entrepreneurs who are doing crazy cool things in this world. And I want to thank you for tuning in to today's show. It means the world to us that you would listen, that we would hopefully encourage you on that journey of chasing your dreams and ideas. We also want to thank our friends over at Penji and OpportunityInChina.com for sponsoring today's episode. Go check out what they're doing. I think you're going to love it. Now it's your turn. Get out there, dream big, and change the world around you.
Vous êtes une autre personne. Les mères de famille, les enfants, peuvent également prendre un moment revitalisant. Dans quelques mois, lorsque vous aurez bien saisi la technique et que vous serez maître de votre corps, vous pourrez vous décontracter même en travaillant.